Welcome back to another episode of Thanks for Your Concern. I am Ella.
And I'm Berenice.
Woo, woo, woo! It's been a couple weeks since I've seen Berenice because
Yes.
I was gone. I was in Austin. Berenice, what have you been up to?
Okay, wait. You just dropped that info and then just skilly dally. How was Austin?
It was fun. It was such a vibe. Honestly, it's a drinking town and I don't drink, but I was like there and I was like, honestly, I could see why people come down here to party. People love to day drink there. So I recommend if you want to do that. Oh my God. So I started off the trip with a bang because as I'm like flying in, right? I'm talking to this baby, right? Me and this baby are really hitting it off. And so I'm talking.
What do you mean? What type of baby?
Literally a baby, okay? Me and this baby were having a great little connection. But then I was talking to the baby's mom. And I was like, yeah, I love kids, And she's like, oh, are you going to have any kids? And I was like, probably not. We'll see. And she was like, you know what? Don't worry about it. I had kids. I started having kids really late.
Okay.
I didn't have my first kid till I was 28.
Oh.
I just was like, I turned 30 in July. And she was like, oh, your skincare is amazing. I was like, drag me, bitch. Tell me I'm infertile, but then tell me my skin looks great.
People need to learn how to keep their mouths shut, okay? Mind your business.
I literally was just like, and this was like right after we had just like recorded an episode about how like, all my friends are being pregnant and married and it hasn't affected me at all. But that bitch being like, I had kids really late at 28 made me feel a little older. I was like, goddamn, bitch.
It's just, it's a different time. We're not on anybody's timeline but our own, okay?
I know. I told my cousin that and he was like, Ashanti just got pregnant. She's 43. You have plenty of time.
Bet.
But yeah, I just thought she was like, how old are you? I was like, I'm 21. I was like, I'm 29. She's like, I thought you were 21. Like, your skin looks great. And I was like, thank you, babes. At least we have that little consolation prize.
I think you do look great. I think we're brown will age gracefully, and mostly you don't drink anymore, so it's just gonna add to your years, to be honest.
I know. I'm fucking thriving. But when I was in Austin, bro, they have such good food. They have like a strong Mexican community there.
Yeah.
Because it's proximity to Mexico. Bomb food, bro. It was so good. And I'm trying to think of, I went to so many Mexican restaurants. I was trying to think of the ones I wanted to shout out. I forgot. We're going to have to do a plug of the week next week, and I'll remember all the places I went. But
I'm ready to bring that back. I miss plug of the week.
Oh, I know. I have a couple. So, we'll bring that back at the end. So, yeah, but super fun overall. It was like 90 degrees, and I come back to Seattle. It's pouring rain.
Yeah.
Like, I'm in my Hillary Duff, Let the Rain Fall Down personal music video.
Fall down.
Because that's the only... I have to, like, sing a song related to the rain, or I'll fucking, like, get so depressed.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. I know that this is a phenomenon elsewhere, but I feel like growing up in Seattle makes you just like a perpetual sad girl. So like your pop-up music is just like Billie Eilish while sipping coffee. You're like getting like 600 milligrams of caffeine and you're just like one tear, and then you're ready for the day.
Right? See, when Cardi doesn't like to walk, even in a rain jacket, I know it's bad. It's just not me. Like, when it's a sprinkle, she's ready to go. But when she's pouring rain, she stops in her tracks and she's like, let's not do this. Who's this for? Because this isn't for me anymore, dude.
No. Yeah, wow. I never really thought about animals' perception of rain before.
No, she's not about it. Dude, how was seeing all your EDC outfits come to life?
It was cool. Like, I love when people message me and they're like, here are pictures for like the first time in forever. Yeah, because people forget to take photos or they just like get too lit. But that's just how I know they're like down ass bitches. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
they are just getting so lit. They're having so much fun that they just completely forgot about their outfits. And that is who I am. So I love that because then I just know that they're really in it. But this time around, people did send me photos and they were saying like they felt really good in the fits. And obviously that's like good to hear. And it's nice to just have a little bit more representation at each festival. I think this year my goal was to get into as many festivals as I could, just like even one outfit or whatever. And that's going really well. So I'm happy. Things are moving along in a good pace, I think. I'm trying not to get overwhelmed. Right now I'm trying to like plan a pop-up, like a day party situation with one of my friends in Bushwick. I'm really excited about that. Just like a different sort of event and like opportunity. I'm also learning how to mix.
Woo!
I know it took a million years, but we're finally here. I think I just I need this was the built up moment because now I'm fine tuned in like all genres of EDM, and I can tell you the type of music that I want to mix and the type of music that maybe I want to make. Because I really like future based, more melodic, like
Yeah.
overall. I think that I would like to produce things like that, but I also really like DMB and trap and like Spanish music, and I think like that would be really fun to mix. So
Yeah.
yeah, so that's where
Babes,
I've
I
landed.
love it. I mean, honestly, probably gonna. I've been. You know who I found? Do you know Knock 2?
Yeah.
Yeah. Literally, I listen to their set and I'm literally like, this is the music I'd want to like make, you know? And it's been really inspirational because for y'all that Knock 2 is from San Diego, you should check out their mix that they have on SoundCloud. It's so fucking good. And I literally that's what I like edit to, and I just listen to it on repeat because it's just like super fucking fun and shit. And so if you like have the vision of like what you want to remix and even what you want to produce, I love that.
Yeah,
I
so
want.
I just went to see Nia Archives. I don't know if you know who
Oh,
she
I
is.
love Nia Archive. She's so dope. So Ian just got a signed vinyl from Nia Archives. Nia Archives is so fucking cool. Highly recommend. She's from the UK.
Yeah, so she's awesome, and there was like a free pop up. So I was like, I'm there, and it was just like a really fun show, and it was like in Bed-Stuy. It was probably honestly the most like representation of like people of color, just like listening to specifically like DMB, and it was like women and like black artists just like in this pop up. So I was having the time of my life, and then while I was there, I like recognized a man, and I was like, why do I know this mid ugly man? And then, like, why does he look so familiar? And I was like, oh my God, this motherfucker. He was like in the backstage area, but it was all open. So I was like, oh my God, I know what this man dated Olivia Rodrigo and Madison Beer. And I was like, why? But this is how I know this man because like of the women I admire. I'm like, oh, I just know that he's had bad run-ins with them.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to sit there and do brain cartwheels as to like, who is this man and why has he dated such baddies? And so I looked him up and he's a producer, but that makes a lot of sense. But anyways, right after right after that, we went to one of our friends' spots. He like owns a restaurant right next to the park that we were at, and this man was in there, and I was wearing like a support women DJ t-shirt, so I don't know if he had like seen me at this thing, or thought like people were following him from the park, but this restaurant was empty. Okay, so we go in. Our friend owns it, and they're like ordering food, and they just go like, "Oh, do you have like a back room to eat? Like, we don't want to be bothered because we're like famous." And I was like, "Sir, the only reason I knew who you were was because of the women you dated. Okay, this is giving Simone Biles' husband. Like
Bitch, this is the thing, is that's how I would act if I was famous, and it's like so obnoxious on a dude. Like,
yeah. So I don't know. It was a kind
that's
of funny interaction. Yeah. But yeah, I've been going to a lot of shows. There's been like a lot of things right now in New York, and I'm trying to take advantage of them. Now I have little like DJ friends in every genre, so I've been mixing with all of them. So I've been like learning how to mix house and dubstep and rhythm.
so dope.
Yeah, so it's a cool experience. I definitely each genre has like its own little thing. I don't know if I'd mix rhythm, but it is fun to learn. It's just like the whole time. As my last update, because it's been 2 weeks, there's like so much to talk about.
I know, bro.
I knew this girl in high school, and she like I know people from high school follow me on Instagram. I don't really care. I post there for hee hee ha ha. And she reached out to me, and she was like, I hadn't seen this girl in 10 years. Like I remember just working with her when I was a bagger, 15
Yep.
years ago. Um, and she was like, hey, like I'm in New York. Like, do you wanna? Is there anything like to do today? And I was already like in the Times Square area, so I was like, oh my god, like come out. I love a stray. Okay, if you know something about me, is like I. You can hang out with me, no problem. Like I don't know why I'm like this. Like I have friends that tone that back when I'm out with friends, and I'm like, I don't know this person, but like let's join in. And they're like, no, Bernice, we don't know this person. And I'm like, but they could be great. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Maybe because I've been a stray before, so I love to pick up strays. So I was like, oh yeah, come out with us. At first hour, totally cool, right? And then, okay, the weirdest thing happened. So in this interaction of people, there was a guy like I had a minor thing with. It's in the past, but we had a bumpy road, and it took us a while to get to friendship. So I just let her know team dynamics when she got there, so she knew like what she was walking into, right? Like this person's with this person's with this person. Me and this guy we're just becoming friends. Like I don't know her, but I'll just give you the rundown so you know what's going on and you don't piss anybody off, right?
Yep.
Yeah, totally cool until the second spot. The second spot, I don't know what this bitch took, what page she turned, like something. And suddenly, like, she just became really grabby. And at one point, I was like, gonna go in the bathroom. And she just like kind of pushed me in there when I was like making conversation with somebody. I don't know. It was a weird interaction. Then we come back out. And she like grabs this man that like I kind of had a thing with, that we were all like dancing like in the same area, and like positions herself like in front of him, dancing on him, right? As he's making eye contact with me. We're just becoming cool. We just started kicking again. So he's not touching her. She resumes that for maybe 10 minutes until I was like, okay, like I'm gonna go stand by my friend. So I start talking to him, right? So I like kind of wiggle myself in between them and we start chatting. And she literally comes and like removes me to come back to I was like, this is so strange. Mainly because like I had just told her that. Now I don't know if this is like normal behavior, because I feel like in any situation with any of my friends, regardless of how much I know them, if they told me like, hey, like I have some business with this person, I had a thing with this person, it's not like that's their property or whatever, but I'm just very careful with how I act around that person, because that's their like that girl's feelings. You know what I mean? Like that's her
Yeah, that's very
story.
bizarre behavior.
Yeah. So I was like, am I what's going on here? So I was like, okay, whatever. I still like told this girl like I'd walk her back to her hotel. She's not from New York, so like whatever, it's not a big deal. So I'm like, we should go. I'll walk you back to your hotel. And I was like, we're walking out. This guy's like, oh, I'll walk you guys like to the door because he's my friend. And then she's walking in front of me, and she like literally like pushes me. So I go in front of her and tries to kiss this dude, right? And I was like, and he just taps her in the head like this. And I was like, what is going on here? So it was such a weird that has never happened to me, but I guess maybe that's a tale of maybe why you shouldn't pick up strays.
Yeah, super fucking bizarre. But that reminded me of a story that happened like last week that I had to tell everyone. Okay, so we always say they always come crawling back. They always come back, right?
Yeah.
I see a like on a kind of an old video of ours on Instagram, and it's like red flags, like is the title of the thing. And tell me why, like, the biggest red flag I've ever dated followed us and liked that video specifically. And I literally was like,
Who was it? Who was it?
Fucking Patron shots, like, yeah.
I thought we lost that man for good. I
Bitch,
don't know what happened.
fucking too. And so this is like someone I dated briefly, like, at this point, it was like, gosh, like 6 years ago, damn near. Super big red flag. And I literally just was like, that's an interesting one to like.
My dad did not like that man.
I
My dad
know.
met that man one time and he goes, I don't like him. Does he have to be here? Like, he was ready to kick him out, like if he was a bouncer from a house we were at. Like,
bro, that's how big of a red flag he was. Is that Paco was like, I don't fuck with this dude. So I thought that was fucking hilarious. I was like, oh my god, we love that. Well, I love the support though. Please continue to follow and like.
Tune in weekly.
I love that. Oh my gosh,
Oh
bitch.
my God.
Okay, are we ready to get into this episode?
Yeah.
Thanks for your concern.
I'm excited about this episode. The episode is Commit to the Bit.
Period. As a comedian, Ella really likes this one.
Babes, Addict's a comedian, and honestly, this started because I don't want to like out myself, because this is like one of the more embarrassing things I did was I did improv in high school, and like high school improv is the cringiest of the cringe, but in improv the number one rule is yes and. All right?
Yeah.
Like when you're in a scene, just go with it. You don't want to stop the momentum by saying no, so you have to like commit to the bit. And like I swear to God, I feel like in life you got to commit to the bit.
Yeah, you do have to commit to the bit. Anything you do, you just kind of have to send it. There's some hee ha ha's with committing to the bit that I think like you should do when you're with your friends. If you've never tried to just like make up a little tale of sorts, they're fun. They're fun. Okay, you can commit to the bit and be funny with it. Like one time we were with a group of friends. We were in Lake Chelan, which is like a few hours away from Seattle, and this is like wine country in the Washington area. So we were gonna go boating. The water was too choppy, whatever. And instead, everybody had this money that we were gonna rent a boat. We were like, what do we do? I love to conjure up a plan. I don't know what it is, but I was like, what if we rented a limo and went wine tasting? And everybody was like, yes. But we were like such a big group, and you know, you just want a little fun vibe. So I was like, can we pretend that like two of my friends, I don't know why, I've always like, I had a birthday in Vegas and I was like, can you guys get married? Just because I just want to be in your wedding. They're not dating. Okay. These people are not dating. They don't even like each other. But I do it every time I used to hang out with them. And at this, I was like, can we pretend this is like you guys' like engagement, whatever? And like, you know, let's go wine tasting. So we rented a limo. We pretended these two were getting married. We walk into the vineyard and we're like, oh, like our friends they just got engaged like yesterday. There was no ring. So I'm like really confused as to if they would have asked for a ring. We're like, oh, he didn't propose with a ring. They're not into material things. But we got like a special sort of treatment, obviously, because they want to book you for a wedding. And it was so fun. At one point, they had a musician come out to like try. We were all like dancing. Sometimes you just got to commit to the bit and see where it leads you. Okay. I would say, would I book them? Maybe.
Definitely. Oh my God. I love that one. That's a full bit. That's a good one. That's like a full bit. I love that. Dude, the one bit that my boyfriend and my cousin do to each other all the time is when we're out, they like prank each other with it being one of their birthdays, and they just do it to each other because it's like neither of them like the happy birthday song. And so like if someone goes to the bathroom, the other will be like it's their birthday, they don't want to say anything because they hate the happy birthday song, but we have to do it. And they do it so like I don't even know when it's gonna happen, because sometimes they have to like sneak off to find a waiter and a hostess. And so just at some point during like 50% of our dinners together, some happy birthday song comes out and they're each just like, you motherfucker. And I literally, that's like one of my favorite bits, is pretending it's someone's birthday at a restaurant.
Those are always fun. The birthdays are a good one. I have had my friend Paulina and I wouldn't say we look that much alike, but we do kind of look alike. And we're like literally the same age, same height. So when we go out, sometimes she'll be like, this is my sister. We're actually twins. And I'm like, Paulina, shut up, because now we're like committed to this bit. And then we'll get drunk and we forget that we're sisters, right?
Yeah.
So like, I've had times where like we go back to like somebody's apartment or something who we were supposed to be like sisters. And then we start talking about our families, and then our families are different. Like my mom, her dad, and then he's like, well, aren't you guys sisters? Like, we're fraternal twins. And I was like, bitch, that has nothing to do. And she'll be like, well, we have different dads. Okay, so like, but her ability to commit to that bit, like she would die on that hill if it had to. And I'm always like, we're not sisters. Yeah, that's a bit. Once I've found out, it's hard to commit to the bit. To be completely honest with you, I usually just fess up. But it is inspirational when other people just like fully stick to the bit. Ella's good at that.
Oh, I love a bit, dude. I honestly, well, the one about the sisters that I think is kind of funny. So, like, you know, we went to a college town that was like a predominantly white institution, and we had like, I don't know why, but well, not obviously, but two people that went to college with us, like, other people were like, oh no, they're brothers and sisters, and I was like, no, the fuck they're not, and they're both like half black and half white, and I was like, you're being racist. Like, no, they are not siblings. Why would you say that? And I come to find out, because I talked to her, I was like, why does everyone think that you and this person are brother and sister? And they're like, it's a bit, go with it. It's funny because they believe it. We just say we're half siblings with different dads, and people eat that shit up. I was like, oh, okay, now that I'm in on the bit, I was like, can I be related to you guys? And they're like, yeah, you can be our cousin. So then we just had this running bit, and that was really funny. But the one bit that I like, literally, I was like, who am I? Is when me and Berenice like pretended to be out of town because we did not want to go to the sorority event. And long story short, it was fucking whack. We'd already done it. We were 1 foot out the door as far as this sorority situation. And the thing about it is that like, we had said we had to go to a concert in Seattle, but because we were lollygaggers, we were still in Pullman at 4 p.m.
We're like, concert doesn't start till midnight.
Yeah, and we're like, we're leaving like right now. We're leaving right now. We're gonna get there in time. And literally, I was so committed. I was like, I'm so excited to see my mom. Da 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 da. And I was literally went all in on this fucking bit. And the Verity I was like, dude, you're lying too much. Like you're being crazy.
It's just like she started lying to me. Right? Like, we were putting this lie together, and then suddenly, like, I just saw her like believe this lie, and it kind of scared me. I was like, listen, okay, this is kind of like edging into lying now, because some people like, I literally recently I had like this man, and he was lying to me, and I knew he was lying to me, but he had like fully committed to this bit, right? And it was like the most delusional lie. Like literally it involved like a whole human being like alive, like a birth of an entire human. And he was giving me like step by step like rundowns of like this human being born, right? Like the time frame, the family members that were arriving. And then the next day, I like asked to see pictures of this baby. And then this dumbass, forgetting the bit, I guess, shows me the pictures. And thank God for the mommies that love a popsicle stick moment with the little newbie things where they put the time, the date, the everything. I was like, motherfucker, this is a different time. The date is on the popsicles. He committed to that bit. And I was like, that's when it becomes scary, when you start believing the bit, okay?
I know. That's not even a bit. I know, like, that's like a lie. But, like, honestly, I feel like I kind of love shitheads that commit to being shitheads. You know what I'm saying? Like, nothing's worse than a fucking piece of shit pretending to be a good guy. I just have a little bit more respect for assholes just being like, I'm a fucking asshole, dude. I'm gonna ruin your fucking life. And then just committing to being the villain. I love that.
Honestly, me too. I've met a good amount of nice guys that are self-proclaimed nice guys that honestly are just people pleasers, and that they end up being not so nice just because they're telling you what you want to hear, right? The nice thing about assholes is that the only person that you can play there is yourself, because they're telling you who they are immediately. So that is a choice that you have to make. Is it because I've been jaded by so many nice guys that maybe I find an asshole refreshing? I don't know. Maybe. Because I'm like, oh my God, thank God that he's not pretending to be a decent human being. Like, you know what I mean? He's being very straightforward. We love that committing to that bit. But I will say there are times where committing to the bit is serious. Okay? that you should commit to the bit in different areas of your life, metaphorically, if you say so. A little
Yeah,
delusion.
everything's a metaphor, babes.
Everything's a metaphor. You look at it with the right lens.
Yeah.
I think committing to the bit, sometimes you gotta fake it till you make it. Okay, confidence and delusions, they go hand in hand, and one day you start believing it. So let's say you're working on confidence, or you're just working on learning something, or feeling like I am this person, you gotta start believing it in a really bizarre way, even if you're not there yet. Like in cheer, I think that was like the most told thing: fake it till you make it. You don't know that cheer, pretend you do. There's like game faces right here. If you look like you know what you're doing, even if you don't, there's like no sense of confusion. People will be like, oh no, she knows what she's doing.
Yeah.
Take that information as you may,
I feel like, it's like when you commit to a bit, it's just like put your whole chest, put your foot into it, put everything into it. And like, I don't know, like recently I've been kind of toying with this idea that I am an artist, you know what I'm saying? And just like when people, because honestly, when people are like, oh, what do you do? I like don't actually want to talk about my job. So I think I'm going to stop introducing myself like that, you know what I'm saying? Because it's like, my job is interesting, but I honestly don't want to fucking talk about it, So I've been toying with this idea of being like, yeah, I'm an artist, and then actually being an artist, and then having shit to say about it, Like, that's the bit, is that, like, I'm an artist. What kind of art do you do? I do this, 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 and this. And because that's how I want to, like, build connections. Like, I don't really want to build connections off of, like, machine learning, even though it's interesting,
Yeah, and I think this is kind of like an interesting, more like deeper segue into like identity. So one of the first things that like people talk within like self identity is when somebody asks you like, who are you? People usually like lead with like what they do to make money, right? And when you place yourself in the category of like that is like who you are, psychologically that does something, right? So thinking maybe a little bit of a broader perspective about who you are, your wants, your desires, and leading with that's the first thing in your mind, like throughout your life. And that's how you build a different sense of identity if you want one. I think the thing that you said about like job and being an artist, I started doing that too. When people ask me like, what do you do? I lead with like, oh, I design, like I like art, I blah, 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 and what I do for money. And I have a 9 to 5, it's a get to know me question, but it really will shift your mentality when you see yourself a little different and you lead with that. And I agree. I think that once you start believing that you're something, you are able to make moves as that. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It's kind of the sense of beating the imposter syndrome of like, oh yeah, like I make music sometimes. No, you're a musician.
I've just been, I don't know, like I'm not having a midlife crisis per se, but I just feel like I need to commit to the bit a little bit more with what I actually want to do, because I feel like I've been committing to being like a tech girly a little too hard for what? Because it's like not something that's actually that interesting to me. No offense if it is. I've just been like, I'm girl bossing too close to the sun in the wrong area. So I need to like shift like and commit to the right bit.
Women in STEM, I mean, because it's not a bad thing, right? Like growing within a profession that's like not meant for women, that's also like really inspiring, but does it feed the soul? And I think maybe sometimes it's about feeding the soul,
Yeah, I mean, I was actually like thinking about like, well, not thinking about like, I get astrology TikToks and it's like, okay, hey, Cancer, they're like the feeling house, and it's like you really need a profession that like you're passionate with, like within your soul. And I thought that was like really interesting. And like obviously I'm like committing to the bit of learning skills at work because I feel like that'll be useful for my next venture, which is I'll tell y'all in a little bit once it comes to fruition. I gotta,
yeah.
but I'm gonna set up a fucking GoFundMe. I need $5,000. Anyways.
You can all be my investors.
Yeah, you can be my investors. We'll do a Shark Tank episode where I list out all of my ideas and you guys can tell me which ones are good, which ones are trash. But I think with committing to the bit, there's like an importance of being present that I feel like is needed, and that's like how I connect this to like theater and stuff, is that like if you're like trying to become something, you cannot just like, you got to be there and you got to be with it and you got to be present in that. So it's like, if you want to be an artist, you want to be a writer, you want to be a musician, you want to be a comedian, you want to be an actor, you have to be present and then go do those things. Commit to the bit by being there when you're there.
That is very true, very essential. And yeah, putting yourself in those spaces. I know I have right now like a friend who's like working on also like mixing and being a DJ, and he wants to start getting gigs, but he just lives like really far away from where everything is. So unless you're like really putting yourself in those spaces where you're like mingling with the right people, it's very hard to gain opportunities out of nowhere. You know what I mean? And I had a roommate that lived here for 2 years, and they wanted to go into like movie editing, but they never left their room, right? So I'm like, okay, so like, how are you gonna get into movie editing without leaving your room or making video? It's very tough. And along with like this and kind of like living the life that you want, like you attract what you are. So regardless of like the delusions, if you're committing to the bit, like I am blah 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 blah, unless you're actually like practicing those things, let's say like I want to live a life that's like really financially abundant, and I want to meet people that are that, you know, like have like just more of like financial stability and abundance. If you don't practice that and you're like reckless with your money and you're spending it on random things, and you know, you're just not that, you're not going to attract like a higher level of anything unless like you kind of start doing that for yourself. I think it's very hard to like level up without putting any work into yourself.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's like one of those things where even wherever you are right now, there's something that you can do to like achieve that goal, right? So it's like, all right, you don't have $100 million right now. I get that, but what can you be doing now that you can be working towards that financial independence, that financial security? And like, same thing where it's like, okay, you know, is it the best advice to pack up and go to Hollywood? Well, probably not if you don't have anything to like show for it yet. Like, if you like, it's not, a place doesn't automatically put you in the position to do the thing. You can work on that shit right now. And then be better prepared when you go.
Yeah.
And I would say like one thing about like committing to the bit is like trusting yourself that you are making the right decision, and then just like go with it. This was kind of like advice I got from my therapist. It's like, once you make a decision, the decision is made, and just fucking go with it, and just go with it until you have to make the next decision. So if you believe in yourself in the moment, like, I think it's the right decision to be a writer, go with it until you need to like make another decision, right? Like, ride that until the wheels fall off, commit to the bit until you realize, actually, I don't want this anymore, you know? Because sometimes you have to give something a fair shot to realize that, actually, I don't know if this bit is for me.
Yeah, I am with that. I like to see things through. That's how I see that sense. Also, I think I mentioned this before, but yeah, if you're like an overthinker, another way to just kind of like soothe the anxiety, the little worry bear, is to kind of have like this natural belief that like things are going to work out in your favor, and regardless of the choices that you make, as long as you're, you know, making those with like clear mind, full hearts, can't lose. Like, I truly do believe that. All right, like if you stand on who you are and like your shit, like there's no way that you can go wrong, because there is a profound sense of being proud of how you act that a lot of people don't have. There's a lot of people navigate with shame, and it's like really sad.
Yeah.
When people hate themselves, okay? And I can tell you, like, throughout situations, like back to this girl's story, I still walked this bitch back to her hotel. And I was telling the story to some of my other friends, and I was like, why would you do that? You should tell her to go fuck herself. I'm like, because at the end of the day, this is about who I am, right? So I'm telling this girl I'm going to walk her back to her hotel. She is not from here. We've been drinking together. I'm going to do that. When I got there, I told her, so listen, I know we said maybe we'd hang out tomorrow, but no, because you're fucking weird. I actually don't start for this behavior.
Yeah.
And then, you know, she apologized later. She sent me a message. She's like, oh, I'm sorry. Like, I didn't know. And I said, well, now you do. Okay.
And you did know, but whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So at the end of the day, like, and I'm proud of the way that I act, like, you know what I mean? So that it's a reflection of who she is, not who I am. So regardless, I think, like, in that sense, like, worry about yourself, be the person that you're proud to be, practice that, and I think shit's gonna line up. But yeah, commit to that. Don't falter. Don't start sometimes it's easier to start acting a little shitty. Okay.
It's easier to act shitty. It's easier to take the path most commonly traveled. I feel like if you have the vision, you should commit. A lot of people, not everyone has the vision, baby, and a lot of people have limiting beliefs, and you shouldn't let other people's limiting beliefs limit you. And I think that this happens a lot with like parents. Parents have the best intentions. They usually value stability for their kids, and I think sometimes people like don't want to commit to the bit because they're like afraid of like the perception. Baby, just commit to yourself.
Free yourself.
Free yourself and just do it, babes. Just do it.
Yeah, just do it. A lot of people have this hesitation when like starting to pop up on social media. You'll be cringe and free. Everyone who has started on social media that made it anywhere, they probably felt cringe at the beginning. They're probably like, oh God, you know what I mean? But like, if you don't do it, then you just won't do it. Like, and that's loser behavior. We don't do that in this podcast. This is super random, but I kind of wanted to go back to what you said about like I'm having a midlife crisis in your age, and then you were like, you started it with being like, I'm astrology girly in Cancer. So your Saturn return happens when you're like 28 to like your early 30s for the astrology girlies. And basically this is like the period of time where something represented in like the house that Saturn is like starts working itself out, and then you get another one in your 50s. So that's where like your quarter crisis, your midlife crisis, those are like lined up with astrology, which I think is cool. So you can always look into what house you have that in and see what the themes are. And for me, it's lighting up. It's kind of weird, but it's good because it just means that you're maturing in a specific sense around a specific time in your life.
Yeah, I feel like I honestly am not having a midlife crisis. I just like, I over exaggerate lots of stuff. But
I mean, it's not a crisis, but it's just like realizations of like what you want your life to be.
I don't know. It's weird. You get 30 and it's just like your perspective changes on like, what you want. Or it got changed and then you got to go back to what you actually wanted. You know what I'm saying? Like, why am I doing this shit? It's like, why am I waking up every day? And like, actually, this is like a lesson about committing to the bit, but more like my dog is inspirational to me because that bitch doesn't give a fuck what day it is. She doesn't give a fuck about geopolitics. She's just making sure, like, am I getting fed? Am I going on my walk? Am I getting snuggles? And she has like the same energy every single morning, and that's like aspirational to me. You know what I'm saying? Is that like, she just wakes up, she's like, okay, brand new day, let's get it, bitch, let's get it, let's go outside. And I don't know, there's something about having a person who literally doesn't give a fuck about like what's going on besides that, hey bitch, you need to get your shit together because I need to go outside, okay? You need to get up, we need to go on a walk. I want to go to fucking the park today, bitch. And so I've kind of like committed to the bit of like, you know what? We're going on a walk every single day. I don't give a fuck what's going on. I don't care how fucking depressed I am. We're going on a fucking walk. And like, I think when it comes to mental health and like committing to the bit, yeah, babe. So just commit to being happy. If happiness is what you desire, put your whole fucking chest into it. You'd be surprised. Put your whole pussy
into that.
Put your whole pussy into being happy.
Put your whole pussy into being happy. There's literally nothing that changed my life more than just being spiteful and being like, I refuse to be fucking unhappy anymore. And when you like, you know what I mean? Like, literally, it's out of spite at this point. Like, fuck that. I'm not. And when you are spiteful about something, you refuse to do certain things. It's like, that relationship is making me unhappy, to the garbage. Like, I just refuse to be unhappy. I refuse to sit in a cycle that brings me nothing but, like, if it's not bringing joy, it's gotta fucking go. Be happy.
Be happy, babes. Okay, you guys. Honestly, I hope this inspired someone to, like, do the thing they've been wanting to do, but, like, to not, like, this is the sign you needed to commit.
Yeah. So send it.
Send it, babes. All right. Thank you so much for listening to this episode. We love having you. Like usual, please rate and review this podcast. It helps us out a lot. Subscribe and send it to a friend. If you want to know what else we got going on, follow us on social media. You can find us at Thanks Number For Your Concern, or you can find me at Ella L Tutor.
And I'm at Berenice and Ella.
Bye.